The 2020 running of the Daytona 500 was an incredibly noteworthy race due to many different factors, but I consider Joey Logano's contrast of results from the beginning of the race to the end to be one of the more overlooked storylines. Statistically speaking, it was a two-day, rain-delayed, crash-marred Daytona 500 that hits low, as S&W put it. However, that doesn't portray the entire story.
The track was dry, the cars were uncovered, the drivers were at the ready. A wall of water swept across this racetrack, postponing the Daytona 500.
Sure, the 60-second Daytona 500 may have averaged only 7.33 million viewers, which is a measly number compared to the, 12.396 million average set by the previous 10 runnings alone. However, the first 20 laps were only ran on Sunday, whereas all the others were ran on Monday. 20 laps, which were ran on Sunday, as I just said, would have had a projected 10.94 million viewers, roughly a 16% increase from the last year's Daytona 500, which would have been 2019 at the time of recording this. And that race wasn't delayed by rain. Now that I've buried the argument that this race wasn't good because of the statistics, let's get on to the main point of this video, Joey Logano. Logano's experience at Daytona during 2020 wouldn't start off too hot. He wrecked out of the Busch Clash after pulling a controversial block on Kyle Busch. It was a move that even his Penske teammate, Brad Keselowski, publicly condemned.
Just dumb moves being thrown out there. It was just a dumb move. There was no reason to make that move. It's never going to work. And it didn't.
Things quickly appeared to get better for Logano. He would win the first of two races known as the Daytona Duels, which are a 150-mile qualifying race. This solidified his top 5 starting position in the Daytona 500.
Logano has earned the inside of the second row for Sunday's Daytona 500 with his win in the duel. But he is no happier than a driver who now knows he's going to be in the 500. Regan.
The Connecticut kid picked up a third-place starting position in the 40-car starting grid, and nothing of real prominence occurred during the 20 laps ran on Sunday. That would all change on Monday. Right from the get-go, things had gotten better for Logano. The 22 started second behind pole winner Ricky Stenhouse. Joey eventually settled for 17th place starting position after partaking in a pit stop under the first few laps, which were ran on a yellow flag condition. Aside from pushing both of his fellow Penske teammates Ryan Blaney and Brad Keselowski, both of which happened to be in first place at the time, nothing significant would happen to Logano again until late into the race. A precursor to the first of Joey's woes would unfold in lap 171. During this trip around the oval circuit, the race's pole sitter, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., would find himself on the inside lane, coming off of turn number 4. The 20, belonging to Eric Jones, would catch wind of a huge draft and abruptly gain speed, ultimately resulting in Jones rear-ending Stenhouse so badly that it almost derailed the 47 into the infield. This was a pivotal event in Joey Logano's Daytona endeavor because it would leave him running second, a mere 2 spots ahead of the 10 car, Eric Almirola. Ironically, roughly over 10 laps later, the first major catastrophe would ensue, and on lap 181, Joey Logano was pushing Almirola down the backstretch at speeds exceeding 190 miles per hour. Coming off of turn 3, Joey aggressively rammed his car against the rear bumper of the 10 without easing the throttle. As a consequence, the Smithfield Ford struck the right rear of Brad Keselowski, a teammate to the 22. Brad hits the outside wall, spinning 360 degrees. All the while, Eric's car nosedives in the inside lane, directly strikes Alex Bowman. Chase Elliott escapes the subsequent wreckfest by a matter of a mere few feet. The split-second moment of desperation which was formulated in the mind of a 30-year-old culminated in almost half of the 40-car field being collected in the subsequent wreckfest. A wreckfest of which took many fan favorites out of contention to win. Who was responsible for the late race catastrophe? None other than Sliced Bread himself. Competition would resume after a lengthy cleanup on lap 189. Logano had come out incredibly fortunate with how unscathed the entire car was. Now was the time when us rednecks' favorite yellow and red Pennzoil Mustang could persevere and clinch the Earl J. Trophy for the second time. So, was the Double 2 able to clinch the Earl J. Trophy, or did he fall victim to a checkers and wreckers mentality? Let the footage speak for itself.
Well, that was just textbook by Denny Hamlin. Can he put the block on? Oh, car. Oh, 77.
Oh, God, they're right behind you.
That was Ross Chastain. Got down on the apron, turned him sideways up the racetrack.
Straight into Ryan Preece.
Chase Elliott involved.
Another multi-car Connecticut kids car. Grass, no rear deck lid or spoiler.
Well, that was a big hit by Ross Chastain.
He wants to make it around to pit road.
Priest sort of pushes Chastain down onto the apron. As soon as it gets down the apron, he loses control. Sideways, he tries to correct. You know, those kinds of impacts for Logano, it might not look as big of an impact as what we see some of these other cars because of the damage, but when you get right into the driver's side door and then the passenger side door goes in the wall, those hurt.
That almost looks, Jeff, like the right rear went down with all those sparks and the car just took off.
I think the car, once he came up on the apron, the car just got a little sideways.
Damage.
Ouch. See Christopher Bell go by with some damage.
Let's ride with him. It's under yellow. Teams are allowed to work on the cars.
Move there to get to the outside. He might have taken the lead. Chris Buescher, heck of a move there to get to the outside. He might have.
After the second round of carnage had ensued, Logano's fate was sealed. That was the final nail in his coffin that arrived, after an onslaught of aggressive driving and close calls. Jimmy Johnson had this to say about the earlier pileup Logano had caused.
That yellow 22 car had been pretty aggressive all day long, and I just felt like it was a matter of time before his pushes were a little much, and looks like that was the case there. But
The 22 would be left to finish first some other year, ultimately scoring a finish of 26th.